are all the way back, baby.
Yeah, and if we say book your hotel, you book your hotel. But my lord, I have soiled myself.
You mean by live? Genuine live? Hello, radio!
And now, another episode of The Way We HNC. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of The Way We HNC It. It is a pleasure to be back amongst you. Flag football never, ever stops. It might only be Tuesday, but what a week we have had in the flag football world. News on the international stage coming out of our ears, as well as plenty going on in the domestic game. My name is Bez. It is a pleasure to welcome you back to The Way We HNC It, and as always, it is a pleasure to look into the eyes of my co-host, Mr. Stuart Anderson. Tree, welcome. How are you?
Good evening, Bez. Hello. I'm very well, thank you very much. I have had a little bit of flag football action since last time we spoke, I think, at Flagging New Year. Had a little bit of foosball with you, that was nice, and then back to work and stuff and things. So, and I just got to watch. Well, I got to see the tail end of you speaking to Mr. Alan Young doing a certain draw.
It was the Ironman draw is up. The groups are out and about, and we will do a full preview of Ironman next week. That's going to be our main event next week, so we're not going to spoil that. But if you do want to see the groups, then obviously you can hit up The Way We HNC It and Scottish Flag Football on both Instagram and Facebook. And Turnify as well. It's on Turnify. Everything's already there. Already. Magically done.
If I'm mad, it's almost like we're efficient at this stuff these days, and we've been doing it a long time.
We have been doing it a long time. And
Makes sense.
on a day when there is simply too much news for us to cram into one show, it's good to be efficient.
Yeah, today's a busy one. When you start to go through the bullet points, we're like, oh my goodness, there is a lot of football. And it's only the first week in February.
It's the Tuesday, the first week of February. Theoretically, this is the off season. And
meant to be.
There's been so much news that we've actually had to cut some of it out for tonight, and which is why we're talking about Ironman next week. So I guess, let's not mess around. Let's just hop straight to it. Greg with the news.
I am not Greg. But the first headline of the day, we have some Great Britain coaching announcements that we have to talk about, Bez.
We do indeed. Long-time friend of the show and very recent guest, Alan Young, is now the former head coach of Great Britain, bringing his 9-year tenure with the GB Gold men's team to an end. That is a tenure that has seen them participate in World Championships and European Championships all over the world and climb to 14th in the world rankings ahead of the European Championships in Paris in September. He is succeeded by Nick Keys, who has been the offensive coordinator of the Silver Lions flag side since 2022, and has also been working with the Cardiff Hurricanes and saw them to 2 national flag championships. So
A bad resume.
stepping up to the hot seat. So yeah, hopefully we'll hear from Nick pretty soon. But yeah, congratulations to him on his appointment. The GB men's sides of all levels are in Loughborough this weekend for camp, along with the GB youth. So there's a lot going on. Big change ahead of a pretty massive year of international flag.
Big start of a new cycle. Big start to a new cycle. And I think there were changes in the women's as well. So
Yeah,
both
Coach
men
Jack.
and women have now had changes at the start of the
Yep.
year, which is a
New head
perfect time to
coaches.
do it, because at least you're getting your squads ready, training camps early, getting everything in preparation. They've done it at a good time. They've not been halfway through a season and someone stepped down. So it all appears to be being professionally handled as one would expect in our Olympic push for some GB flag participation. Oh, it was great. I didn't expect Nick to get the step up, though, if I was to provide my punditry insight.
Your punditry.
Yeah, I did think maybe the guys I thought were maybe like Dale, after such a phenomenal job he's done with the Silvers, it would be the next sort of progression in his development, maybe. And then obviously Alan Meads, Andrew Gibson, so many names kind of kicking around. Yeah, so it went to Nick, which is great. So, I mean, it could have went to any of them. And yeah, you think any of them would do a phenomenal job. Yeah, Nick will do great. Good on him.
Yeah, so yeah, he's the job starts now. In camp this weekend. So obviously I think there's a lot of there'll be the under-21s, there'll be the silvers, and there'll be the golds all in the same spots
amazing.
alongside the youth squad. If anyone missed our very quick interview on the blog with Kelly and Robin and Jay, then there are new head coaches of the under-21s silver side. Go check that out. They are this will be their first camp this weekend as they get ready for trips to King Bowl and Flagapalooza later in the year with the under-21 squads. So lots of change in the GB coaching structures at the moment, but yeah, pretty exciting, and all eyes are on Paris as we head towards September. Massive year.
It's huge. And certainly we'll speak about some other things that
And
have some...
I was going to say,
That's a
glorious segue.
perfect segue, Bez.
Why
You've
is
done
it
great.
why is it so important, Tree?
Well, Bez, the next article that we are going to bring into the humans' ears today is all to do with the qualification information that has been provided to us and then taken down and then put back up
Yeah, that was weird.
from our wonderful friends at IFAF, Bez. And you got very giddy about this, and a lot of people have a lot of comments on this one.
There's
This
a
was
lot of
very
questions.
intriguing as a
There's
community.
there's a lot of questions about this, and as what appears to be kind of a trusted news source in the flag football world, I am sorry that we were unable to answer all of your questions over yesterday about the new format. A couple of them blew my mind. I really couldn't work out what the question I was being asked was. But to me, when I read it, I thought it made sense. I thought it was kind of simple. It's a simple-ish format, but it's written in a really dumb way.
It could have been
So-
articulated a lot better. Yeah.
the information that IFAF have put out, I think makes sense. I just think they've written it strangely. So here is basically the way it's going to work.
Give it to us, Bess. Lay it out to us all.
The IFAF World Championships, which are rumored to be held in Germany, and for the sake of the examples I will give later, we're going to assume that is true. Okay, so we're going to say that based on internet rumors, we're saying Germany, right? So that might be wrong. Argue with us later, but we're saying Germany for this example. So in the IFAF World Championships, there'll be 16 teams in the men's side and 16 on the women's side. The host nation gets an automatic berth.
Like the Football World Cup. Host gets an automatic. Yeah. Makes sense.
Or the Olympics, right?
Hey,
So-
there we go. Yeah.
Fun fact about the Olympics, right? Obviously, most Olympic events you have to qualify for. If you host the Olympics, you get to put a team or an athlete into everything, right? Literally every event, you can find a random citizen and say, you want to be an Olympic athlete? Okay, you've got 4 years to learn how to do X, Y, Z. That's why when London hosted the Olympics, GB had a handball team. I think they lost every game because they had no right to be there in terms of merit. Hey, you pay to host the Olympics, you get a team. So
Get a shot.
World Championships, exactly the same. If you're put on the expense of hosting the event, then you get your spot. In the men's side, Europe will be allocated 6 berths. That is 1 continental champion and the next 5 best teams, basically. On the women's side, Europe will be allocated 5 berths, which is the top 5 nations at the Euros in Paris. In America, on both sides of the draw, they are being given the top 4 teams. They're being given 4 berths at the World Championships. The top 4 teams in the American Continental Championships in 2025, they will go. In the men's, in Asia and Oceania, this one's a little bit more complicated. They are given 2 berths. Now, 1 goes to whoever wins the tournament, and the second one will go to the highest ranked team from the opposite continent. Which is interesting, right? So if the final was Thailand and Japan, and the 3rd, 4th game was, I don't know, why can I not think of a single Asian country?
China versus Singapore.
Right, so Singapore, that's a good one because they were there last time.
They were there.
Singapore versus Australia.
There you go, perfect.
Right?
There you go.
If Australia come 4th, they will be the highest ranked team from Oceania. So they will get the 2nd spot.
Wow.
Which means
that's massive.
Right, which means the 2nd and 3rd will miss out, and they will get the highest spot. On the women's side, it's 3 berths, so it's the continental champion, the highest ranked nation from the continent that did not win, so the same as before, and then the highest ranked nation without either of those two, regardless of the next continent.
One is. Yeah.
So that's on the women's side. In Africa, this is where it gets quite fun. So Africa, they're getting 1 berth each for the continental champion. Now that, very interestingly, opens up the suggestion that we're going to hear news of a 2025 Continental Championships in Africa, which is something that we've been waiting for a long time. We hoped we would get at Limerick, but they actually ended up inviting Cameroon to Limerick. Couldn't make it in the end, but it was going to be Europe and Africa. So now we're suggesting that we're going to have an African Championships, which would be amazing. So they'll get 1 spot each, and then the last 2 spots. So we're at 14 currently. The last 2 spots will be merit based, and that was based on the 2024 Flag Football World Championships, so the one that we've just had in Lati, and based upon how the teams eventually shook out, Asia and Oceania have been allocated an extra berth in the men's side due to the performance of the Japanese, and the Americas, have been allocated 1 due to how well Panama did. Now, in the rankings, in the final standing, of the World Championships, Europe had higher ranked nations. So those 2 merit-based spots would have gone to Europe. However, there is a cap on 6 teams from any given continent.
So there is a cap
because Europe has been allocated 6 already on the men's side. They just basically keep going down the list until they hit a team that's not from Europe. So that's going to be Japan and Panama. So they have 1 extra berths for Asia, Oceania, and the Americas. So that's on the men's side. On the women's side, exactly the same thing. Germany did well enough to get Europe an extra spot, and Panama women did well enough to get an extra spot there as well. So it's 16. There's Europe, obviously, kind of tends to have an advantage there, like with 6 on both sides.
Big number.
Partly due to just having a larger group of countries that have developed in the sport. So to break it down and make it like really, really easy to understand how it's all going to go, I'm just trying to find my notes. The way that it basically works out as in the men, if we assume that the host nation is Germany and therefore Germany have a guaranteed spot, the host nation is not included in the teams of 6 cap. Yeah, teams are capped. Continents are capped at 6 nations to qualify for the Worlds, not including the host. So it's basically 6 nations up are granted by performances at the World Championships in 2024, plus the host. So if the host was Germany, as is being suggested, in the men's, there will be 7 European teams, 5 teams from the Americas, 3 from Asia, and 1 from Africa. In the women's side, there will be 6 from Europe, 5 from America, 4 from Asia, and 1 from Africa. And that will make up our 2 16-team World Championships.
It was quite a lot of the World Championships, wasn't it? It was like not like 32 or so. It was quite a
There was 31 in the men's.
It's quite a substantial
and
number to cut to half.
Close in the women's. So what I think you're starting to see here is, rightly or wrongly, and I would love to know the community's opinions on this, rightly or wrongly, IFAF are probably looking for a product they can sell, right? And if you want a product you can sell, it has to be the best teams. Up until now, if you were a federation and you could get yourself to a tournament, you could compete in the World Championships. The IOC are not going to stand for that. You can't sell that to Discovery, like,
No.
12 people that happen to have country X passports. So what they're going to do is they're going to say the absolute elite have to battle out. And remember saying, based on the news from a couple of weeks ago, that only 6 of those 16 teams will qualify for the Olympics. And that, I think, is likely to be the top 6 teams from the World Championships. What do you do? You do another one in 2027?
Yeah. Do you think it'll be just the raw top
Qualifying
6 of
tournament?
the seedings? Like or it won't be like
So
2
the way
Americas, 2
the way the
Europe.
IOC works is that for every Olympic event, you have to have representation in qualifying
I wondered this.
from every continent. Okay, so that's why at the World Championships, Cameroon were 31st. They are one of the lowest ranked teams in the world. As it stands, they're getting a World Championship spot and all of the great things that come with that on the road to the Olympics. That's the IOC flexing and say, if you want to come to our party, you have to play by our rules. That's why, there's a chance that if I can't remember who's 16th in the world, but they could probably feel aggrieved, right? That they're not getting to go
Not getting a chance.
a team ranked in the 30s or 40s is. Unfortunately, that's how the cookie crumbles. This is the big leagues. If you wanted this is where we are. It doesn't necessarily mean that every continent has to be at the Olympics, because that's not the case. But it does mean that every continent has to be given an opportunity through qualifying. So this is why we're not just taking the top 16 teams, and potentially missing a couple of continents out. Like,
yeah.
That's why there's that Asia-Oceania thing of, I don't care how far down the second continent finishes, one of them's going.
Got to go. Cool. I mean, it all makes sense. I mean, I think the one thing you're trying to say is a product, a product they're trying to sell. And I think that it's really interesting just thinking, the one sort of thing I was taking away from all of that is, we're saying that the World Championships now is 16 teams. It now becomes a little bit more cost effective in some regard for some of the teams who are going to the World Championships and maybe not going to be able to compete. Teams that are lower down. It's going to be interesting
if off of that announcement that came out yesterday, as we record this now on Tuesday night, by Friday morning, someone at IFAF is going to have a stuffed email inbox of, we'll host.
Absolutely.
We'll host
That's
it.
Exactly what I'm saying.
If you are in Europe, for example, and you are currently ranked 7 to 10, offer to host it. If you're in Africa, if you're in Asia, Oceania, and you're ranked 5 to 10,
host it.
Brazil will host it.
Absolutely. It really starts
Chile,
to put
Argentina,
that sort of...
any of those teams that are further down the list. Like, if you're not the USA, Canada, Panama, and Mexico, host the Worlds. On the America side, is exactly in Europe. Like, if you're concerned, like,
the other thing I was going to
ranking points that you're going to get.
I was about to add that. That's my second point I was going to make. Is because some teams won't make the Worlds now. They'll just have a European Championship
to gain ranking
points. They won't have a World Championship to get more ranking points. So all your your Olympic cycle then is based upon you doing well at the Euros, which is every
2 years.
2 years. So you're
So
basically building on a 2-year
if you-
cycle for those lower countries to get the ranking points to put them with an opportunity of the worlds.
if you don't make the worlds in 2026, your Olympic dreams are over.
They are. That's now what the GB. That's why it's so important now is to get that right and to get the pieces in place to build upon this. Because then the women are obviously on
Do you
the cusp.
recall where GB finished at the last Euros?
14?
No, that was the Worlds.
Oh, the worlds.
At the Euros. So Europe has 6 spots.
Oh god.
GB last time were 6.
Really? We're
Yeah.
6. Oh god, right, okay. Yeah. It's gonna be close and tight. At 100%. It's gonna be so tough. And the guys
Pressure
have to
on.
be. And I think we're really. I think what's interesting, Bez, what we've been doing over the past 2-3 years with the GB program, I think it's been getting better and better and better with coaching, training camps, organization, training and tournaments. Across the whole board, the GB program has went from strength to strength. So I think, if anything, we're in a better position to succeed. We are getting all these things now in place. So yeah, I can only speak highly of what the guys have been doing, and obviously Alan's legacy is obviously leaving behind, and then the women's program with Dean, he's kind of leaving behind for everyone to pick up on. Hopefully, we could just go one step further. Like you've seen it with the Germany game against the GB, phenomenal. The women are on the cusp of like something amazing. They're just right there with those top nations, your Japans and all that. So I think as a nation, GB, I think we could be proud of what we're putting out, but we are at the same time. Squeaky bums.
I mean, we're talking about this like we're on the outside. Obviously, we're talking as fans, and
yeah,
like if you think about watching any sport, right? Like what makes you tune in? It's jeopardy, right? It's why people only ever care about snowboard cross when the Winter Olympics is on, right? But it's because basically you get one race, and if you fall over, you're out, right? It's why people suddenly care about curling, because it's knockout, right? It's why the NFL, NBA playoffs go mental in terms of viewership, right? Because it's knockout. And basically what we're doing now is we're creating jeopardy. We're creating this world where, ranking points were fine if anyone could just go to the Worlds, because you would get more at the Worlds and like you would get another shot. But now we're saying, if you don't go to these Worlds, you miss out on an entire tournament of ranking points that you could earn. And then all of a sudden you're 2 years out.
that's huge,
right? You've got Continentals in 2027, and then what we're going to do, Worlds in early 2028 before the Olympics in August. Like, you don't want to be are we really going to be sitting in? Like, are we going to be sitting in like an April Worlds, trying to work out who gets to which teams are joining the opening ceremony, walking around the Coliseum? Like, it's crazy to think. But the jeopardy now of the Euros is you have to make the playoffs.
Got to.
You have to win a game.
100%.
Right? Like, if it's round of 16, you got to win 2.
Crazy. It's good that we now know this, though. At least everyone now knows what you're playing for, and it's now everyone's aware. We know what we see, and we know what we've got to build up to now. So it's going to be an interesting few years of flag football at the ultra competitive level.
It's absolutely fascinating. And
so as fans, I'm all invested. I'm in Bez.
And like we're speaking about before, I don't think flag is on the cusp of a media deal, a global media deal, right?
No, definitely not.
However, it makes it a more sellable product. And I think people are going to be upset that I'm calling flag football a product, and I don't mean to upset anyone, but going into the Olympics, and if you genuinely believe that flag can do well at the Olympics, flag is the only sport on the roster at the moment that you can't find on, buried on Discovery 17.
Nothing
somewhere,
really,
right?
Maybe the AFL American League, but it's very different.
You could watch, you can find archery if you look far enough, right? You can find most of the Olympic sports on there will have some kind of deal, but IFAF are not there yet, and they're going to have to be at some point. The the economics of the sport at the moment do not make much sense. That's way above our pay grade. But like, if you want to get people to watch and see the sport for the first time, watching teams get blown out. Like, I think Mexico beat someone like 61
You're
nil
not
or
gonna
something at
watch
the
that.
Worlds. There was a 70 odd beating at the World Championships. Like,
You're not going to
elite
be
teams,
interested.
top 16, jeopardy, sudden death, edification beckons.
I do think the Olympics is maybe a bit small, but nah, that's
Yeah,
my
the
only
16 's
take.
just-
The Worlds is
it's
fine. The
nonsense,
Worlds
isn't it?
battling for 16, I'm fine with. It makes sense, and it just makes everything just that much more important now in the preparation. It will allow
By
the
the way,
elite to come
if
to
they
the
go
front.
4 groups of 4 at the Worlds,
Yeah, that's
oh my god,
brutal.
the
Imagine though,
tension.
all that way for 3 games, and those 3 games matter.
Like,
Yeah,
you
that's
cut the tension with a butter knife, it would be so
yeah,
tight. Like,
crazy. But cool. As fans of
But
the
awesome.
sport, Bez, it's awesome. Exactly.
I mean, I'm
It is
hyped.
awesome.
Absolutely.
Agreed.
I mean, that's the big international news.
Yeah, that's the big ones. That's our pathway for the future, really. What we're going to be talking about, what the community are going to be talking about, where we are in regards to programs, Euros, Worlds. Yeah, that's set the tone for the next few years, that's for sure.
International flag is crazy. And
Just a tad.
domestically, there is also a lot going on. Something that's drawn the attention of many this week has been in April, Celtic Bowl 1 will make its debut over in Dublin. I've had a wonderful conversation over the last couple of days with the organisers. At the moment, it looks like it will be predominantly clubs from American Football Ireland in support of the national programme and development camps. I think their tagline is created by the Wolfhounds for the future of the Wolfhounds, which is spectacular. We've seen American football in Ireland in both the men's game and the women's game really, really grow. But yeah, mixed brackets, 16 mixed, and I think 8 on the women's side. And next year, if it all goes to plan, then they'll be looking for international teams, full-time officials, the whole shebang, and potentially over a patron saint weekend
Very cool.
in Dublin, which would be very good fun. So we're going to continue to chat away to the kind of the organizing group of Celtic Bowl, and hopefully bring you as much coverage in the build-up and potentially over the weekend as well.
Happily come out of unretire for that event, Bez. If you ever went to an Ireland tour, absolutely. I mean, it's the one thing that's really interesting. It's like they've got the teams in the community for it, so it certainly is going to be something that you will see a lot of people head over to. I think that because it is quite close, there's regular flights, there's ships, there's boats, cruises you can take across the Irish Sea.
Old wooden ships.
The old wooden ships, and we'll sail across the 7 seas with our rum. I mean, they'll accept the rum. The Irish one, definitely, for sure. I think that's one that if they can do that successfully this time, and then promote it, absolutely no doubt that you'll get teams from the UK and across international coming to play there. Absolutely.
Yeah. So
that's exciting. Next one, Bez.
Yeah.
What's the dates? When are we locking in dates?
The final weekend of April.
Oh, nice.
For this one. And then, in the future, when they start to branch out, the plan is to branch out for kind of more international teams next year.
It's as long as you think about other schedules, like the BAFA schedule does run through March, April, which could interfere.
I think at the moment it's completely clear. This one happens to be completely clear.
Perfect.
I think it certainly certainly gathered a lot of interest.
Nice.
But we did also come to the end of Scottish flag football's Winter League 6.
Who would have imagined it would have made it all the way to 6 when I started this back in whenever 2008, 2019 I started it.
And then
who would have thought?
Yeah, and then handed over to to SCOFF a couple of years ago. So yeah, Top Gun, they took home their 3rd Winter League trophy over the weekend into a record. They were tied for the most championships with Aberdeen, but Top won 2. But by winning 3, Top Gun have claimed that record for themselves. Baywatch, the debutantes, came 2nd, and the defending champion Aberdeen Silvercats took 3rd. Rounding out the top bracket was the Border City Centurions, and
The Jewels in the gang.
Another year of adult Winter League. The Junior Winter League still has one more date to run next month, but the adult league is over because I haven't checked my date. I know I scared some people last time, but as it is now February, Division 1 is back next month. So
You said it with a bit of emphasis. Next month, Bez.
Next month.
Wowzers. Just around the corner.
Put that pie down. I see you. Put it down. Yeah, maybe go for a jog somewhere. But yes, if you're listening and you've got a packet of crisps in the car, maybe think about it, because it's not long now until Division 1 is back. But in terms of the domestic game, there is one league which has our attention right now. And that is
a good one.
The Women's Flag Football League, which is flying towards an absolutely electric climax.
Oh man, when I saw those results coming in, Bez, from that weekend just past, it was spicy.
It was absolutely chaotic and brilliant, and we are here for it. So which conference would you like to start in, Tree?
I think that we start in the south.
We'll start in the MSC.
I think so. I think we start in the south and talk about the outcome of our Coventry versus Coventry Battle of the Titans, and then we go to the middle, which is just wild.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, let's talk about it. So, Cougars and Panthers, they faced off against each other, and the Panthers have come out on top, winning 31-13. That is, for those that are keeping an eye on the tiebreakers at home, that is an 18-point difference. And the tiebreaker between these two teams will definitely be head-to-head. And if the Cougars do pull it back on the final day of the season, it will go to aggregate scores. So for those the degenerates out there that like the betting markets, we're currently at Cougars minus 18.5 in order for them to take.
You know who you are.
You know who you are, to take the one spot after a day in which both Coventry teams were relentless.
Dominated. You look at the results, Bez, my oh my. Like, they're chowing down on teams, like, with points.
Yeah, both teams scoring for fun. The Cougars' other results were 59-0 over the Spears, 40-8 over the Flame, and 33-6 over the Amazons. The Panthers, on the other hand, were 46-0 over the Green. They were 55-0 over the Gold. Both of those teams are having kind of tough seasons. And then, they went on to play the Cougars and win 13.
Yeah, so, I mean, I think with the Coventry Cougars, I don't think it's anything to worry about. We know we're going to get to the end of the season, and they're going to be causing mayhem, and they're going to be competitive. So I think the top two here, Bez, I think regardless, I think seeding will kind of matter. So when it comes to the seeding positions, I think you've got at the moment Panthers obviously holding the 1 seed, which would play the Samurai, and then obviously the Cougars would be the sort of 2 from down south, but the Cougars would play the Giants. I think the Cougars would be happy with that. I think the first round is not going to matter so much in the playoffs. I think that the 1-2 seed is going to be more into regards to the semi-finals. You arguably want to avoid the Pirates Black team. I think
that's the biggest thing. If it goes by seeding, the second seed will face the Pirates Black.
I don't think if I was the Panther, the Cougars, I wouldn't be worried about playing anyone. Like, regardless of seeding, I don't think it really matters. You know, for who they are, their backstory, and just who they are as a team. I'm not fussed. I think that where it becomes really interesting is the Panthers now taking that next step in their development in this season, is that the season where the Panthers are, going to just get that next step? And the one seed, will that aid them in getting to the final? Yeah, could do.
So the Panthers did win this game last year. So the Panthers were the 2 seed last year, and the Cougars were the 3 seed. Had to play a game earlier than they had previously, and then beat the Panthers on the way. I don't think they'll be worried. They'll want the 1 seed, but I don't think they'll be worried if they have to go kind of the long way around on finals day. Finals day this year, obviously, just being quarterfinals, semifinals, final. All teams, if you're going to win it, are going to play 3 games. There's no buys. So yes, it's much easier. It's much more even, just because you're not kind of coming in on tired legs against someone who's not played yet.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone's going to be at the same point, same fairness, same amount of games. I think this format definitely works for the fan of the sport and for everyone across the board. I'm with you in this bit. I think it's going to line up to a good day of football where it's just we know what's happening.
The big place it does start to make a difference is now the difference between coming second and third.
Yes.
In the HNC, which we'll talk about in a minute,
to them,
is fairly out there. However, let's finish off the MSC, because we spoke about on the last show that the Lions had some work to do, the Huntsmen had some work to do, and the Flame and the Amazons are also all in the mix. So, the Lions, we thought they would have to go 4-0 to have a real shot. They
tried.
3-1.
Yep, they tried. It was
If they win all their games on the last day, they are still in.
How many they got?
3. The Huntsmen had an all-timer of a day. 39-0 over the Lions, 13-6 over the Flame, 46-0 over the Spears. So to go 3-0 on the day.
And against the teams that we said
against the teams around them
to beat, and they've done phenomenal.
Yeah.
To have achieved that, you putting your foot down, Bez, and going, I am in the playoffs.
We are coming
not
to the
taking
playoffs.
that away
So,
from me.
In the South, we have the 2 Coventry teams are locked and loaded. They are guaranteed a playoff spot. They are also both guaranteed to be either the 1 or the 2 seed. The 3 seed and the 4 seed are currently open to 4 separate teams. The Huntsmen basically need a tie, and they're in.
And they're good, yeah.
Yeah, so win a game, and they're in. The Amazons will probably need a little bit of help, just because based off of the fact that they will lose a tiebreaker for a forfeit earlier in the season. The Flame are currently on the outside looking in, but what is amazing about this is the final game day, the Huntsmen, the Amazons, the Flame are in a 3-team round robin.
It's incredible. It's
so they all play each other for the final spots. The Lions, they are further back. If they go undefeated on the final day, they do have a very real shot of making it, but obviously they will need a bit of a help.
Who do they play? The Lions. Do you have the schedule there?
So they will have to play the Panthers.
I wondered that. That's what I was asking for.
Will be in a who will still be in the fight for the 1 seed. However, they also play the Spears, the Gold, and the Green.
Right, okay.
So if we say that we think they're going to go 3-1, it starts to get very, very interesting. At 3-1, probably not going to make it. Inside Britball, Andy and Aaron and myself, we are currently going through the process of working out the clinching scenarios for the WFFL for all the teams that are still left in. So later on, we're going to do kind of a collaborative checking of each other's working. So I'm not going to spoil the surprise just now. I know that many of you kind of back at home have already tried that and have sent in stuff. Can you check this? The homework is currently being done. There is an incredible situation where we can end up with 10-6, 9-7, 8-7-1, and 8-7-1 amongst those 4 teams. There's a situation where last game of that round robin will decide it, depending on how the results in the first 2 happen. Like, it's going to be nuts.
Crazy. Cool.
So we're going to bring you all of that further down the line, because I don't want to confuse things.
Love it. All for it, Bez. Let's get that'll be where all your gamblers will come out with your over and unders. You know, they'll
might have to bring back some kind of handicapping a game picks final day.
Man, that'd be mega. Again,
that
I
one.
wonder what that would look like. Like, who do you have in and out?
Yeah, handicapping. If I could make like ESPN do a really good like NFL playoff machine for like the last 10 weeks or something, or the last 4 weeks, you pick every game in the league and it shows you what would happen.
Oh yeah, then what you got?
Yeah, takes a better
Maybe
kind of
next
brain
year,
than I have, but
with our sponsorship to IFAF and our media coverage as a product, and we'll be funded.
Once the check from Discovery Plus comes through,
got you. Yeah, we'll make it happen.
When we get the Netflix special, when they do the Blitzer show just for Netflix, then we'll sort that one out. So at the moment in the MSC, it gives us the Panthers and the Cougars have already qualified. The Huntsmen and the Amazons are currently occupying the 3rd and 4th seeds. The Flame in 5th at 7 and 7 are still in. The Lions at 5, 6 and 1 are still in. Then there's the Spears at 2 and 10 alongside the Gold, while in last place it is the Green at 0 and 12. Over in the HNC, it's a little bit easier. We've got the Pirates Black, champions at 10 and 1. 10 and 0, sorry. 10 and 0, undefeated. Sorry, I'm looking at the graphic. It's 10 and 0, 100%. Is where I'm getting the 1 from.
Incredible.
100% record. Below that, there is carnage, chaos.
I mean, that's one word to put it. There's another
certainty.
one. Wow.
So
you've got a thesaurus in you tonight.
The Titans began the weekend on the outside looking in. But now, very much, they are on the inside with the driving seat for the second seed.
Said it to Mr. Mead. I think I've hopped on board a bus from Manchester. Phenomenal weekend, man.
Phenomenal weekend
for
them.
They're always, like, that's the Titans, though. Over the years, have been so consistent. It was just, they're there.
Yeah.
And we know they can do it.
Potentially the weekend without Sarah maybe put the jitters up us in the wrong place.
I think so, yeah.
We were too concerned about them too early, but they were not concerned. Titans obviously beat their Bees clubmates 33-13. Titans beat the Snowcats 38-0. And then the big game that we were all really looking forward to, Titans 31, Giants 20. So that 3-game win streak completely changes the dynamic of the division. The Giants would go on later on to get wins over the Bees and the Snowcats. And the Snowcats would also fall to the Titan Bees to cap a very long day for them away from home with 0 and 3, which causes them to tumble to the 5 spot. On the other side, and the other game day, which was in Glasgow, the Pirates Black, obviously, as we mentioned before, undefeated, reigned supreme 33-7 over the Samurai. And 46-12 over the Huskies. The Huskies got another win on the season over the Red, 31-21, while the Samurai put 38 points to 0 on Pirates Red. So, what does that give us? Well, Tree, let me tell you what that gives us.
Where do you want to begin? Yeah, this is
Pirates Black
crazy.
On the table. Titans 6-3-1. 6-3-1, but the Titans have the tiebreaker. They finish on the same record. The Titans will be the higher seed. The Samurai at 5-3 are holding on to the 4th seed, while the Snowcats tumble down to 5-5 and realistically need a huge amount of help on the final game day. So what is the final game day? Well, the Snowcats host the first ever BFFL game day in Aberdeen.
Oh, nice. That's cool.
That'll be their home game.
Are you up in Ellen, or
game
are they in Aberdeen
the
themselves?
Season. I think they're at ASV.
Cool, even better. Nice.
So the 2 East Kilbride teams are making the trip north. On the other game day, which is being hosted by the Samurai, they're going to play the Titans, and they're also going to play the Giants.
Oh.
So those 2 are probably going to be our games of the week in North.
So. Just mark them in your calendars.
The Samurai will also play the Bees and the Huskies in the rearranged game from earlier this season. Well, the Huskies take on the Bees, the Titans, the Giants, and obviously the Samurai, as we just said. Yes, the Snowcats can still make the party, but they would need to upset the unupsettable Pirates Black and obviously the Red, and then hope that at least one of the Titans or the Huskies could do them a favor alongside the two probable confirmed playoff teams in the Titans and the Giants. So Leeds would have to have an absolute disaster. Aberdeen would need a bit of a miracle. But mathematically, we're all still in the game. So, yeah, pretty out there. So what does that give us as it stands in terms of playoff picture, which is almost guaranteed to change before the final day? Well, we would be kicking off our day with the East Kilbride Pirates Black versus the London Amazons. Manchester Titans would play the Leicester Huntsmen. The Sheffield Giants would play the Coventry Cougars, while the Leeds Samurai would take on the Coventry Panthers.
Spicy.
Which, if you're playing the high seed wins game, would then give you Pirates Black versus Coventry Cougars and Manchester Titans versus Coventry Panthers.
Yeah. If all goes to plan.
If it happened like that.
Yeah, if it happened like that. I mean, is there any upsets to be seen in the first round? I mean, the Huntsmen, I guess they'd tickle their fancy after that last weekend they've just had.
I think right now, those two are obviously like the top seeds, the top two teams, like, they're all the form teams, right? Because there's no falling teams here. But yeah, you got to think Titans Huntsman is the game that you think would be close. But
yeah, that's the one that stands out for me.
People.
Oh well, exactly that. You're out. Is there a placement bracket if you lose your first game this season?
Yes,
they're still at that. Okay. I wondered if that was still there.
Yes. So the 4 losing teams will go into the plate semi-finals. And then the plate finals as well. And the plate 3rd, 4th place game. So every team will play 3 games regardless. On the day, regardless.
Okay, I caught that.
The final is currently slated for about 6:20 in the evening, with the first kickoff at 12:30 in the afternoon.
Gotcha. There we go.
So
there's some things in the works. Are we? I don't know. Can we?
There's some things in the works.
Okay, they're in the works. Okay.
There's going to be an announcement.
Okay. Cool. I will say no more.
Actually, you know what? Fuck it. It's our show. We can do what we want.
Yeah, we don't have to.
Yeah, go for it. Right. We don't
have to go into a lot of detail. You can say that things are happening.
Things are happening.
Yeah.
We're back, baby. We are all the way back. Yes, for the fourth season in a row.
Are we well now? Yeah.
4th finals in a row. We will be partnering up. Well, for the 4th season in a row, we'll be broadcasting the final from Finals Day from Ravenscraig. But this year, for the very first time, we are partnering up with local media company Comhara to give you a genuinely, probably never before seen viewing experience from Ravenscraig. The stuff that...
Even any flag, Bez. Well, maybe apart from the Worlds.
The stuff that they are going to be able to pull off is genuinely amazing. And yeah, we are excited, very, very excited to be a part of it. But there's going to be a full-on announcement, and we are going to share everything with you. And probably we'll talk to Mark and get his perspective on why it's going to be so spectacular in his own words. But yeah, this is a partnership that's been quite a long time in coming. It's been something we've been slowly...
it was literally at the last women's that we just got caught in conversation, like, come speak to me for the next one.
Last year we finally got a camera.
Yeah.
We got a single camera, and then now it's looking like, given the issues around the internet last year, we're getting the full production. So yes, hold fire for more information. But yes, we are going to be back at women's finals. Yes, I'm so excited. 22nd of March, Ravenscraig. Mark it in your diaries. One of the best days of the year.
I'm looking forward to it, man. I think it's exciting what we've got planned. I know how me in a live stream, I'm giddy. So it must mean it's good.
Good. You're just delighted that you're not going to have to be on tech support this year.
Absolutely, mate. It's amazing. We're only bound by what we've got, like, as like hobbyists that can help. And so now to have like proper official support from a media company, oh my god, it's going to be bliss.
It's going to be
even just having better internet on the day. Like, that is a minor miracle in itself, you know? That immediately makes the stream quality a million times better than
Yeah.
dealing with internet in there. So,
Good camera, good
very
internet,
good.
powerful computers,
Yep. And microphones.
same rubbish accents, but
Oh,
still.
yeah. Terrible accents, terrible commentary, just the same old Scottish bias, but, you know.
But yeah, I honestly, I cannot wait. So yeah, that seems like a fantastic place to end it for this evening. So there is an awful lot still to come. We are going to dive deeply into Ironman next week ahead of that tournament because that's one of our favorite tournaments. And yeah, after that, the National Flag Football League season approaches.
Teams in, teams out, swap, change it all about. A lot to talk about when we get that to back to the league.
Schedule
Lot
release day.
to talk
Fantastic.
about.
Yes. Yeah, we'll leave it there. But thank you very much for joining us once again. We hope you have a fantastic week. We hope to see you in the comments and the DMs of whatever news is bound to break in the morning as soon as we finish the edit. And we'll catch you again on a pitch very soon at Ironman if we don't see you in person before. So that is it. That is goodbye from Tree.
Goodbye, everybody.
And it is goodbye from me. Thank you very much for listening. That is the way we HNC it.